Go slower, read the mutators, and do what it's telling you to do. Here, we'll do an example. Alright, we got geode womp zerkers. So, looking at the mobs, it's telling me don't use projectile towers unless I have something to counter it. So, I'm using projectile towers, these PDTs. However, I've got something to counter it in that piercer servo. And then long shot. The further a source of damage is away from an enemy, the more damage it deals. Which means on this lane, these poison dart towers are going to wreck it, because they are my farthest defense away from the enemy. In fact, they're almost at max. A little bit further back and they'd be at complete maximum range. Over here, we got bullet sponge. Enemies have a small anti-projectile shield. Then it's got the little shieldies at the bottom, plus a geode. So, once again, got to have something to account for the bullet sponge and the geode and the shields, and I got piercer servo on those. Now, on that same note, any non-projectile defense or attack is going to remove bullet sponge. Well, I got weapon manufacturers right here to instantly clean the bullet sponge off of them. Then we move over here, and we got lava zerker wompers. So, got no real challenge here except vampiric. So basically, I want the enemies to die before they're going to get to the point where they're hitting anything. Because any enemy here that does damage is going to get healed. And it's a big heal. It's not a little baby heal. So I'm going to go a little overboard on the poison dart towers. Try to get a little additional damage in right there. And get these guys burned down before they can get up here to a point where they can hit anything and do damage. Alright, now we look right here. We got Psy-Hex throwers. So we got cyborgs, which means you don't want to use ground traps, auras, or nodes unless you have a counter for it. Tenacity is the counter for cyborgs. Duration of negative stun effects decreased, so I'm using tenacity. Then we got controlled burn. Enemies can only be damaged while drenched, oiled, frozen, poisoned, or stunned. So I'm going to poison the enemies up with poison dart towers, and then I'm going to stun them with weapon mans, and now I've got two different things countering the controlled burn on that lane. Alright, take a look over here. Stabby zappers. We got proximity, which unfortunately proximity on flyer lanes, poison from different players, PDTs does stat critical, but not your own. I don't have these set up for poison damage though. These are set up for the dart damage, so I'm relying on the dart damage. I mean, they are set up for poison damage, but the poison damage is not doing the bulk of the damage here. Or actually it is, but the dart damage is doing a significant amount, so that's why I'm stacking them. The only time if you just straight up want to use explosive poison, then there's no reason to stack. Right now I'm not using explosive poison though. So anyway, proximity, if I had an aura set up, I could put proximity up there, but I don't. So I'm just gonna, since I've got a lane down below, I'm gonna have the Skyguard hitting the flyers, and I'm gonna have these poison dart towers hitting the flyers too. And that should be enough to wreck them all, especially considering they're zappers and they move so slow. Alright, here we got Geo-Hex Zerker throwers with Pain Aura. Pain Aura doesn't matter unless you plan on getting up there and meleeing, so you don't even need to worry about that. And we've got the same counters. We got massive ranged mobs with the Hex throwers and Javelin throwers. However, they're going to have to get way down here before they're going to be in range of that core. So I just need to kill them before they get to this point. And there's really nothing else to worry about on this lane. Alright, now here we got EMP Stabby Zappers. So, I'm going to throw a Skyguard back here, and that will also double dip if any of those Zappers make it past that Skyguard. And then to soak up the EMP blast, I'm going to drop an obelisk right there. Obelisks have very good health scaling. You see it's got 1.87 million health. So it will be able to absorb that EMP shot without a problem. So I'm going to put that there just to be a decoy, basically. And it will still do the smite, and it will still give me a buff. So it's a win-win. This would have actually been a better lane to use the obelisk. But since I don't have another mystic set up, I'm just going to throw 2 sky guards right there and forget about it. Alright, do we have down below? No. Nope. Oh, fail jump. Alright, here we got Geohex throwers. So once again, we got geodes. So we've got that piercer servo. But then we've got Spellbreaker, reduced magic damage, increased physical damage. The problem I've got right now is I don't have a single physical damage defense set up. So what I'm going to have to do is go overboard with everything else. So I'm going to throw 3 poison dart towers on that lane. And pray. Now, this is going to be my weakest lane from what I've seen so far, since I straight up just don't have physical damage. The best thing to do in this lane, of course, is to throw physical damage. So, if I had these weapon mans down here for some CC, one of the best additions I could add back here would be cannonballs, as they're direct physical damage, and they would wreck it up. However, I'm in the middle of Ancient Power resets, I don't want to spend the gold, and I don't want to spend the crafting materials, so I don't have any cannonballs set up, as I would have to re-upgrade that item. But that right there, what I just did, will get you up to floor 200. And it's all about taking your time, looking at the mobs that are coming, looking at the mutators, and building for that. I've done a lot of public games this last week, they're the Joker, but I'll be doing all public games pretty much after the change. For those that don't know, next week is big in the world of multiplayer DD2. And that is, we're finally going to get rewarded. Right now, we actually get penalized. We have increased mob difficulty with no increased reward for playing multiplayer. So with that in mind, it's not very encouraging to play multiplayer. You know, you can do the maps easier solo than you can in a group. Now, Onslaught, you could argue that second player would be the best, because having me over here and another person over there to watch that side is a huge benefit. However, as far as just general grinding, solo play is easier. Now, next week that's going away. Every additional person that gets added to the group is going to add additional loot from the loot box, from the victory chest at the end, which we don't know to how much that is, but according to what Lalta's been saying, in a 4-player group, it's a lot of loot. So I'm very anxious to see what pops out. In fact, I am going to do a few before and after, a little before and after comparison of what pops. I'm looking forward to it. But the main thing is I'm looking forward to people doing matchmaking again, playing in groups again. I will always put the name Juice in the title, and I always, for the most part, I always play on US West. So keep an eye out for any of my games, because I'll be doing all public games after that update hits. Alright, now here we got Sigard throwers with maximum effort. Now the smartest thing to do here would be to really take advantage of this maximum effort. Enemies have more health but get weaker with each unique source of damage that hits them, which means the more sources of damage, the better off you are. Now currently I've got 4 defenses set up, basically. So Sigard throwers, I'm just going to kind of power through them, just like I've been doing the other lanes. I've got the Piercer on my PDTs to counter the shield goblins, and then I've got Tenacity on the weapon mans to counter the cyborgs. So I'm just going to go like that. And like that, and call it good. Now I do want to throw a couple of upgrades in over here. Get another one on this obelisk too. The obelisk is important to note. Look at the, it is doing damage the entire time. So it's going to be either smiting enemies or buffing you every second during the entire combat phase. So the obelisk is a very, very strong addition to any build. Temple nightmares in your sleep there, Alice. I'm not wondering how they're going to fit that in. Is Temple going to be just a random map you get every now and then? Or will it be like a milestone map every 5 floors or whatever? Or I'm wondering what they're going to do with Temple when they switch to the 1-map floors. Alright, this lane looks like it's holding its own. So I'm going to get back over here where I've already established this is my weakest lane. And it's actually looks like it's wrecking it too. Upgrades for the win. Let's just watch it without DPSing for a sec. There we go. It's tearing it up. I think I can ignore this lane now. Slickelion. Let's get on Slickelion. That way I don't have to worry about him pushing out too far. Yep. Looks like he got handled anyway. Poor little Slickelion got beat down. Got Slickelion over here now. I know there's going to be a Slickelion spawn in each wave. So I want to make sure that I put some of my upgrades into this wave. Now remember, this is minimal builds. In my opinion, the more heroes you have to use, the more fun you're going to have in the game. But this is like straight up AP grind builds. So it's, it's not the most creative and it's not the most fun, but it is very fast and efficient. So if you're just grinding AP and you're not worried about anything else, then this is a good setup. As everybody knows, the Dryad is pretty meta right now. Just going bees and slimes is another good setup that will counter everything. Let's see. Yeah, definitely All-Stars. See, we got Zerker Throwers. So this is pretty much an easy lane. Enemies explode when killed. That should be a non-issue because the enemies are going to die before they get down here to tear up my PDTs. So I'm just going to spawn camp that lane. I'm going to throw one set of upgrades here and then just... Since I feel pretty good about where I'm at right now, I'm just going to set one upgrade. One upgrade on every defense. Yeah, Ancient Power is... AP is Ancient Power. That's what it can be confusing because there's 2 different APs. There's Ability Power and there's Ancient Power. But if I'm ever referring to stats, I'm talking about Ability Power. And then just referring to the game itself, I'm talking about Ancient Power. But, sorry to confuse. Let's see, this lane is not a difficult lane and there's only 29 mobs. I should quit sweating that one. Another important aspect is every wave, make sure you're looking for your boss. Because some bosses can ruin your entire build. So pay attention to what bosses are coming. I actually get pretty much a free boss with Skarnash, so I'm not going to worry about it. I know Slickelion is here, so I'm going to come put the beat down on him. There we go, Slickelion dealt with. And then now it's just a matter of waiting for Skarnash and watching the mini-map. As the lanes should handle themselves right now. And then I can just assist anywhere that's getting a little bit more of a push, or just anywhere with a heavy group of mobs. Looks like that obelisk might need an upgrade or a repair. Let's go hit that up real quick. Can't upgrade it, but I can repair it. So the obelisk is doing its job. It's soaking up those EMP dive bombs, which is good. Here comes Skarnash. So let's just deal with Skarnash right here and these weapon manufacturers. Come on out, Skarnash. Come say hi to me. Preferably while I got that mystic buff on me. There we go. Skarnash dead. That was the pet ability, by the way, if you're wondering how Skarnash evaporated so quick. Yeah, it's very similar. Ancient Power is very similar to Paragon levels in Diablo. It's the same basic process. It's a prestige system, so to speak. So definitely very, very similar to Paragon. Alright. What do we got? Down below here, Psy-Hex Whompers with Wall Leech. Now, I'm not going to use any walls, so I can completely ignore Wall Leech. And then, of course, we got the Psy-Hex Wurms. So I've got Hex Throwers I'm not going to worry about, because they're going to go to this core, so they're not going to be able to throw at that core until they get to about here, and they will be long dead by then. And then I got Cyborgs, which the PDTs don't have to worry about, and the weapon manufacturers have tenacity on them. So you still have to pay attention, but depending on your quality of your tenacity mod, I've got obviously a good tenacity mod, so I can completely ignore them. But I do want to throw some upgrades in over here, just because it is a new lane, and I know that these other lanes are already holding. So although I still do want to get some upgrades thrown around, I know what lanes are currently holding with the defenses they have already. So I try to always put the ups into the newest lane. Alright, Bestie, thanks for swinging by. Have a great night. You can use any of the nuke abilities there. Critical damage. This is Betsy, so it's got the Betsy ability. But basically any hero damage pet. The best one, in my opinion, is Gatto Fireworks. That'll roll on any Gatto pet. I use Betsy because she looks cool. That's 100% the only reason. It's not the best one to use in a Nuke Monk setup. Table Flipper actually gives you slightly more damage than Gatto Fireworks does. It's like 5% of your hero damage, more damage. But Table Flipper travels through the air very, very slow. The projectile does. And that's why I prefer Gatto Fireworks. Gatto Fireworks shoots. It's like almost instant to the mob. Quick stop off for Skarnash. Gribs got handled. Now where do I want to deal with Skarnash? Let's deal with Skarnash right here. I got PDTs and a Weapon Man. There we go. Skarnash is handled. What's going on, Blueberry? Yeah, you can look at the level of the mob there, Doug. Anti-Chaos and Hardened. Yeah. I was hoping that was going to be a better relic. I could throw it in for the final floors. I didn't look at the mob level, but when when you're in range of a mob and the mob's HP bar pops up, it does show their level. So as the level goes up, their HP and the damage amount that they do goes up as well. They will always dodge the Jester questions, David. I really, really want to see the Jester. Alright, we got Hex Swampers and Rage, so basically I got nothing to worry about. The only thing I do have is Enrage, so enemies start weaker, but get stronger the longer they stay alive. So a lane like this, you would not want to build way down here. You want the enemies to die right away, and not get stronger, so the sooner they die, the better off you are. Well, as far as farming C7, pretty much you can use anything, Clearberry. I mean, just Flame Aura spam and you AFK C7. Well, use the same relic on every piece, Bruno. Use a medallion on every piece. The Jester, if the Jester comes, and I do hope the Jester does come, but if the Jester comes, it will not be the next hero. There's no doubt in my mind. The next hero, in my opinion, I think will either... Oh! Fail jump. In my opinion, the next hero will either be one of the additional gender swaps, or it will be the Mana Machine. See if I can do this right this time. Just want to make sure this is... Oh, that was actually already full. Alright, ran over here for nothing. So let's see, wave 5, so I got bosses. I'm going to have a Thork over here. And then I'm going to have some kind of Skelly boss over there. And then I've got Slickelion right at the beginning of the wave. So let's just start over here and be prepared for Slickelion. What's going on there, Foo? How you doing? Let's get Slickelion wrecked. Oh, I missed. I missed with the last hit shot. But Slickelion down. Take a look at our trouble lanes. It actually looks like that was no trouble at all. Especially now that these PDTs are all maxed. Over here we're doing pretty good as well. Everything's dying. Oh, I've reset on stream many times, Pixie. I'm not going to reset on stream today. Sundays are kind of my easy day. I don't do a super long stream. It's my wife's day off, so I like to chillax with the wife. Usually watch a movie and kick back and relax or something, you know. That, and I'd have to get, I'm trading gear when I reset, so I have to have somebody prepared to trade gear with me. And I haven't done that today yet. Oh, I'm jumping around too much. Get back over here for assassin killing. Alright, 5 mobs left. There's another assassin. And there we go, good game. I'm excited with the gender swaps. I'm excited to see what they do with the Ranger and the Countess. I really hope there's some different wall options with the Countess, like the Bouncer Blockade from DD1. And then the Ranger, I would really love to see the Gas Trap from DD1. Oh my gosh, that would make me so happy. That would be so awesome. But anyway, there we go. That was floor 63 and pretty much a complete walkthrough. So, I mean, as you see, all Onslaught is, Lightrayne always refers to it as rock, paper, scissors. So that right there gives me Ramsters for the last 2 floors of the push. So I'm stoked about that. I get another defense out of the deal with that bad boy. But anyway, Lightrayne refers to it as rock, paper, scissors. So if you look to this lane and you see you got scissors, then make sure you're building rocks. If you look over on this lane and you see you got paper, then make sure you're building scissors. And that is pretty much Onslaught in a nutshell. As long as you do that, it's good game. However, though, everybody, that is going to do it for today. A little shorty. But thank you all a ton for swinging by. Make sure everybody has a great rest of your weekend. Not much of Sunday left for me, but there's still a little bit in there, so I'm going to kick back a little, watch a movie or something probably. Not really sure. Yeah, 3-bar shocking revelations is just really OP there, Fuchuan. So a 3-bar is just as good. I mean, it's not as good, of course. The higher you go, the better off you are. But a 3-bar shocking revelations will clear all the content. It's more about the tenacity than it is the shocking revelations. If you you know, with a decent tenacity mod and any shocking revelation mod, weapon manufacturers are really, really completely overpowered. But anyway, everybody, thanks a ton for swinging by. I really appreciate it. I'm going to clip that little, that Onslaught run out of the deal and put it as a separate little Onslaught walkthrough. So, thanks for encouraging me to do that instead of just blasting through it. But thanks a ton, everybody. Everyone have a fantastic weekend, and tomorrow is my day off. So I will be back live at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday, right here on YouTube. So thanks a ton, and see you all soon. Take it easy.